It might be hard to imagine how ancient people may have lived, but archaeologists recently found evidence that thousands of years ago, babies were fed with something like a modern sippy cup. Archaeologists have actually found a lot of evidence of this kind of ancient sippy cup at dig sites all over Europe. And so these are small vessels with spouts. So they looked at 3 of these vessels from Iron Age and Bronze Age sites from 3 different graves that held bones that belonged to children. And what they did was they tested the inside of these vessels for residue. And they wanted to see if maybe they could find evidence of what the vessels had once held. And so they found lipids, which is a kind of protein, and they analyzed it and found that these vessels had once held some kind of milk. The archaeologists think this is a pretty good evidence that these were used for feeding babies and infants, but how could the scientists tell for sure how babies may have used these thousands of years ago? Well, what they did was they made a reconstruction of one of these clay vessels, and they filled it with diluted applesauce. Then they gave it to a 1-year-old baby to see how he would handle it. Dr. Julie Dunn, who was the lead author of this study, told me that the baby was really excited by this because he loved applesauce and the cup was so easy for him to hold. And she said that he cupped it in his hands and started sucking from it, and he loved it. There's something intuitive for a baby about the shape, and they all have the same basic shape. All of these vessels, no matter where they found them, no matter what period they were from, they were all pretty much the same, around the same size and the same shape, so that they would be very easy for a small child, a young child, to hold it in their hands. The earliest evidence of these sippy cups in the archaeological record is about 7,000 years ago. And that actually marks a really important transition in human communities, because for a long time, early humans were hunter-gatherers. And so they were moving around a lot, and they did not have access to things like animal milk that they could feed to their babies. But once people settled down and they had a more agricultural lifestyle and they started domesticating animals, all of a sudden they had this new food source that they were able to give to babies and very young children. In agrarian societies, people started having their babies closer together, so 2 years apart instead of 5 years apart. And this was largely because they had access to foods like milk that they could put into sippy cups and give to babies and young children to supplement the food that they were already getting. I don't know, personally, I just thought it was really fun to see a 1-year-old actually using one of these, ancient sippy cups. But it's also interesting that they can give us this perspective, not just on how an individual baby might have used it, but also on changes that might have happened in human societies.